Hello, and welcome to the Metalheads podcast. My name is George.
And Buke.
And Jay.
And
God, we don't sound happy.
Well, hey, it was a rough week, dude.
Yes.
it was. We have all kinds of bad news for you today.
Basically, everybody died. That's it. That's our news this year. And I'm not necessarily talking about what George is about to talk about. But
Yeah, pretty much the main thing on everybody's mind today, whether you're metal or not, is the tragedy in Paris. What the fuck? Mm-hmm. I got to tell you, I'm pretty fucking sick of this shit.
I second that notion.
You know, I'm a pretty easygoing guy, but this whole terrorism thing, ever since, 9/11, has really fucking irked me, to put it mildly.
It's just the true definition of the word terrorism. It's terror.
Yeah.
It's just individuals just trying to strike fear in people.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first thing we need to do is say that our thoughts are with all of those people in Paris and the rest of the world who lost people there that day, 2 days ago, that is. We're thinking about you.
Yes.
Oh, well, what's the next rainbows unicorn story you have next, George?
Well, we'll get to more of the bad news when we get to the news, but there's a couple things I wanted to talk about first. It's nearing the end of the year, and so it's getting ready to be time for us to write our year-end lists. In fact, our year-end episode is set to record 4 weeks from now.
Woot.
So, yeah, it's time to start thinking about that. And I was telling Jay that I was starting to compile my list in earnest, and I'm up to 72 bands on my list. I can probably, without too much difficulty, flush that out to 100. But we're only going to do 25 on the podcast. The others are going to be sort of 75 honorable mentions on the website, I guess.
I'm having fun with mine already, dude. Are you kind of putting some pieces around in order?
I think it's going to be hard as hell.
Oh, it's hard. Oh, it's hard.
It's like, oh my gosh. At some point, it's just going to be like, 11th hour, and I'm going to be like, fuck it. This is number one. This is number two.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
No.
Dude, I got a record that rocketed in. And
Me too.
That just came in and sits firmly in my number two spot. My number one spot, I mean, you'd have to, Number of the Beast would have to come back out again for me to knock that off. My number two is firm in place now at this point too. I mean, I got my list, but it's 1 and 2. Nothing's going to touch these two records till we get there. And I feel that's true.
I think my 6-month list is going to be shaken up pretty bit.
Oh, mine is.
Pretty a lot.
Does Dodheim's Guard even stay on the list?
God, I don't even know.
Because remember, you made that statement.
I mean, as soon as it was in number 1, I said it's not going to be, it's moving to number 2. And that was for Between the Buried and Me, which has also just sort of like fallen by the wayside because while it is an incredibly amazing album, it does not have high replay quality because it gets kind of annoying after a while. So yeah, it'll be in there somewhere.
Let's use this as evidence that it's been a great fucking year, dude.
Yeah, I think there's just so much good music.
Yeah.
I can assure you our lists will probably be carbon copies of each other because we're so similar.
I don't know about that. Buke's will be all death metal. Mine will be all black metal.
Yep.
I think
mine's all over the map. Mine's all over the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John's will be all intelligent and smart.
Yeah, John.
And Will's will be...
Will's will be Will's.
Yeah, Will's will be just gruesome.
Yep.
Will's will be Jay's.
So I was talking to a coworker of mine, somebody I'd like to bring here to the pod. Not another drunk Matt situation, but my friend Ryan. He brought up a couple points when we were at work the other day, one of which I will save for him when I hopefully get him in here, because it was a great discussion. But the one question I wanted to bring up to both of you guys is there a band or an artist or any music that you could recommend to somebody who likes metal, but maybe wants to step away for a couple hours? It's still a little heavy, but it's not metal. Like a heavy piece of classical or like a heavy I know maybe when I thought of this question in my head as he was saying it to me, I was thinking maybe like some Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds type of stuff.
Oh yeah,
maybe something like along those lines. Is there anything that you could maybe?
There's a lot of stuff that I like that isn't metal that's still kind of dark.
Yeah, still kind of dark. Yes.
Yeah, like Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds is a huge one for me. I'm a huge Nick Cave fan.
Did you see the story about his son was on drugs when he fell and died?
I did not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear
He was
that.
on heroin or something.
Heroin, Jesus.
Like meth or something.
Wow.
Some pretty crazy drug when he fell and died.
And he was
That's
young
too bad.
too.
Yeah.
Tom Waits is another good one.
You got me into both of them.
I really love Tom Waits. Leonard Cohen, man, I love his voice. You see him around a lot lately for an old guy.
For what it's worth, one of the best concerts I've ever seen.
Yes.
We saw him in San Jose, and I'm not joking, dude. I walked away just thinking that was one of the greatest performances I've ever seen.
Who was
And
that, guys?
Leonard Cohen.
Leonard Cohen.
Yeah,
and
man,
I'm a
when
big
he-
fan of
What,
his.
what is his style?
It's
He's like poetic. He's a '60s poet who's aged well, and he's kind of all over the map. It's sort of like what the fuck is it? I mean, it's not pop or anything like that.
no, it's
like
just sort
60s
of folky
Folk
but
rock.
Folk rock.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like jangly like Simon and Garfunkel, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. When I saw him when they played Hallelujah, I was fucking in tears. You probably know that song because everybody in the world has covered Hallelujah,
yeah.
and he's.
But I mean, also there's a lot of bands that metal fans are into that we're all into. Like I would suggest bands like, I mean, some of them are obvious, but like almost every metal guy likes Pink Floyd. You know what I mean? And almost every metal guy likes The Who. Like, pick up The Who live at Leeds. That's not a metal record, but holy fucking shit,
and then you got like
he's a punk guy, but
then-
he's my age. His punk is of course he respects the Ramones in them, but his punk is more of your late '80s, '90s, like growing up watching like skateboard videos, punk bands,
You know what? The Who, the Godfathers of punk.
like
man. I mean,
Rancid
guys-
and those
that's-
type
yeah.
of bands.
yeah,
Rancid,
the bubblegum punk, like the
George
Green
is-
Days and the Rancids and
Yeah.
the fucking
Bad Religion.
Bad Religion. I really like All and the Descendants. I like those guys.
He probably likes these already if he's a punk guy, but like seriously, man, two of the bands that I love, and I love just as much as a lot of the metal I listen to, is the Stooges and the MC5, dude. Mm-hmm. I would highly suggest those to any metal fan. It's kind of roots metal, roots rock stuff, but roots punk, something. I don't know how to explain it, but god damn, those are good records.
Sisters of Mercy.
Okay.
Yeah,
See,
but,
I've
a
never
lot
heard
of the
that.
goth stuff, a lot of the goth stuff would go over big with the metal.
Yeah, it was like heavy goth.
Yeah.
I mean, they sort of crossed over with the metal crowd a bit. I fucking love Sisters of Mercy. They haven't put on a new album in forever, but like the first 3 albums, good stuff.
Yeah, that's a good one, George. That's a good call.
And you mentioned classical, and so there was 2 things I wanted to go with there. First of all, the most metal of all classical composers, Wagner. Fucking Ride of the Valkyries, bitches. That is some fucking metal there.
That's George say. That's some ISIS bombing music there.
Yes. We used to crank that in the car when we'd drive around getting up to Nefarious Deeds in high school. Dun, 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 fucking blaring levels. And another one that it's so fucking metal, but it's not metal, is the Conan the Barbarian soundtrack.
Okay.
I have that on vinyl. That shit is fucking tight.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. See, he is a loyal listener. I'm telling you, almost listens to episodes a couple times, and I thought this was a great question. That
I got one more though. I want to throw one more out
go ahead,
because
Jay.
George said classical. One of the other most metal classical pieces of all time, Mozart's Requiem. Dude, it's fucking scary, dude.
Yeah, I remember I got into that when I was.
It's a scary fucking song, I mean, a scary movement. It's huge. It's long, but
Yeah, Holst Planets and
this is
Carl Orff, O Fortuna.
I got to tell you, this is funny that there was no reason I was not going to mention this. There's no shame about it, but I gave my wife a birthday present, and we cashed in that birthday present last night. I gave her 2 tickets to the Magic Flute.
Nice.
So we went and saw the opera last night. I went and saw the San Francisco Opera last night, and you know what? It was amazing.
Oh yeah, opera's great. My
Did
wife
you wear a tux?
No, but I did dress up pretty nice. But I also I got to give a nod to my friend who was like, he thought that I gave her 2 tickets that were like, honey, anytime you want to cash them in, you got a ticket to the Magic Flute.
2 tickets to paradise.
Anyway, and it was awesome. It's not the first. We also went to Madame Butterfly one time years ago.
My wife's parents are into the opera and classical shows and not necessarily opera, but I mean they do opera, and I've been to a few shows with them, and it's really interesting. I mean, a lot of opera is not in English. It's like Italian, I think, is the default language.
This was translated I'm sorry, I do want to say this was translated into English, and it was sort of a multimedia production. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they sort of modernized some of the jokes and shit.
That's cool.
Pardon me. Yeah. So, but it was great, and you know what? It's where we would have been if we lived back then. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah,
it would
totally.
be instead of a podcast, we'd be writing on scrolls. It would be the Opera Head scroll cast.
Fucking Paganini, bitches.
Maybe then you could write good, George.
No. Still write better than you.
Yes, exactly.
That's all. Like Buke's joke is, I don't have to run faster than the bear. I just have to run faster than George. I don't have to write better than anybody else. I just got to write better than Buke.
Exactly. And talk better when you already got both of those.
Which, if you haven't checked it out yet, please make sure to check out the new wearemetalheads.com website. We got some reviews up there. Jay's killing it.
You guys are.
Well, I've got more coming. I got the Exodus pictures from Sergey, and why he didn't put the King Diamond pictures on the same thumb drive, I don't know. So my review is close to ready to go. I'm going to put that up soon. The review of that show. It's a little bit less timely, but the tour is still going on. So.
Well, since I don't see it on the script, I know you're going to write it up. For those people who can't or don't want to read, can you just give a quick synopsis of the King Diamond show you attended?
Oh, I would love to. Absolutely, yeah.
Otherwise, Buke will never know.
Well, first off, Exodus opened the show, and Exodus was Exodus. They only had a 30-minute set, Exodus, for some reason, and that's fine. Which, by the way, when I go see a band, I don't need 12 opening bands, so this was actually the perfect night. Exodus came out, played 30 minutes. Seen Exodus a million times. 30 minutes was fine for me.
I mean, he said Gary Holt wasn't with him.
Nope. And I did look that up.
Has he been with them ever since he joined Slayer? Has he gone back with them?
Yeah, I think it was probably just conflicting.
But I think I did go back and look, and Slayer did have something going on. They were playing some dates or something, so it's the bigger paycheck for him, I'm sure. But the guy who played guitar instead of Gary Holt was the dude from Heathen, whose name I forget. Let us not also forget that I will be sharing these soon. We have amazing photos because Liz got us a really great photo pass, which was just wonderful. So
can't wait to see him.
Yeah, and okay, so anyway, so that was great. Exodus was cool, nice setup time and everything. And I didn't know this, but I wonder if you two did. But King Diamond's Doctor Doctor, do you guys know what it is? I'm assuming
the song that Iron Maiden takes the stage to.
It's the song that plays right before the band comes on.
Yeah,
you call it their Doctor Doctor
by UFO.
Yes, but what is King Diamond's?
I don't know.
I'm assuming he played. I happen to know he's a huge David Byron fan, and is it David Byron? I'll have to look that up. But anyway, it was Uriah Heep's The Wizard. But it was so obvious that it was like the last one. It got louder. The lights went down and they played the whole song. That's the first song off of Demons and Wizards. And I know King Diamond's a huge David Byron fan, so I'd wager they play that every time.
Nice.
All right, so then he came out and just did. And you know what? I will say this. He sounded amazing.
That's what we said.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no... to kind of drive that point home, when he got to parts of which there are many where there's harmonies, that he is able on the album to record multiple parts, he only ever sang the highest note in that harmony. He never cheated. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, and it was great. They did kind of choice King Diamond stuff, opened up with Welcome Home, so I got to hear the immortal words, "We're going to repaint the front door soon." Best metal line ever. And then it did two, I couldn't have chosen better Merciful Fate tracks, did fucking Melissa and Come to the Sabbath. And then they just proceeded to do the whole Abigail record from start to finish, They did it better than the way I think most bands. Like when I saw Anthrax do Among the Living from start to finish, they like broke it up. You know what I mean? They were like, okay, now we're gonna do a bunch of these other songs and we'll come back and do some more. King Diamond was like, fuck that. There's a concept record. Did it from start to finish. Did not stop. Whole show. And that was it. And I was one more thing, and I'll mention this in my review. Andy LaRocque does not get enough fucking credit, and I've always thought that.
He's badass.
Dude, he's like the birth of shred, because if you go back and listen to Abigail, and that was it. It was an amazing show. Sergey, our bass player, went with me. He took the photos. He's got a real nice camera and knows how to work it better than me. I do have a review coming soon, but I was blown away. And I also have to say, for all of my love of Merciful Fate, never seen King Diamond before this.
Yeah. Yeah, I've only seen him twice. And the second time was just last year, so.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys went, and it was just a non-tour tour, right? I mean, it wasn't supporting a record.
Right. It was just like, I'm back.
It's almost kind of like his ramp up, because remember, he did Mayhem over the summer.
Yeah.
It was kind of like...
I should also mention, too, it was in the Warfield in San Francisco, which is usually just a fucking sound tornado, but it sounded great. Everything was mixed all night long really well. And one weird thing, I haven't seen this in years, cash only at the merch booth.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Which I thought was weird. So I was running to the ATM because I did pick up 2 super kick-ass Abigail hoodies for me and my buddy Buke.
Did he, and thank you for that, did he have the stage set with, the big stairs going up, the wrought iron fence? Yep.
Yeah, and it's
inverted crosses and the pentagrams light up and stuff.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's a big stage set. So, and I kind of even just looked at some of the venues on the rest of the tour, and there's got to be some places he can't set that whole fucking thing up, because the Warfield's big, but as far as the stage is concerned. But yeah, the stage was amazing. Light show was amazing. He had his wife there doing all the characters and shit like she does. It was fucking killer, dudes. It was a great.
That's awesome.
That was my show of the year. That was the best show I went to this year.
Not surprising.
Nope.
No. So there you go.
All right.
I do want to kind of say real quick, this is where we would normally feature a band. And we were going to feature a band here from the Bay Area called Arsa, A-R-S-A, kind of a Viking metal stuff. Really good stuff. Good friends of mine. They practice at our rehearsal space down the aisle from us. And they just finished a record. Unfortunately, it just kind of didn't come together in time. I was kind of pushing Mike, the drummer, to really please get me some stuff. And we couldn't get the tracks in time. The guys still want to be on the show, but so I'm going to take some of the blame for us not featuring a band this week. Didn't work out, but we will get our say again in the future. So this is normally where there would have been a band. Well, we'll feature those guys at some later date.
You just get more of us now.
You get more of us, and you can't go wrong there.
Yep.
All right, now let's start talking about all the people that died.
Yeah, so
What the fuck?
before everything went to shit in Paris, there was already plenty of bad news to go around.
I just looked up the news story to go back to an earlier callback. Nick Cave's son, LSD.
Oh, okay.
At 15 or 16. Can you believe that?
So in his mind,
Yeah,
he was-
in his mind, he's going to land on like some nice mushrooms and
no. In his mind, he was falling for like an hour. He was just like, God damn, this is taking forever.
So it was a sad week this past week when we learned that Phil Filthy Animal Taylor died at 61. Obviously, most people would know him as the drummer for Motorhead during their classic period. I didn't even know he was sick. Apparently, all they said was that he died from an illness.
I saw some interview a while back with him. I mean, it was a text interview. It wasn't a video or anything. And he made reference to an illness. And it was sort of like, and he didn't say what it was. He was just like, oh, yeah, I couldn't take part in that because, I've been sick. And that was like, yeah, that was all I heard.
So probably cancer or something.
I'm inclined to say.
Yeah.
I do want to say, too, that for all the years they've lasted, for all they've done, my favorite incarnation of Motorhead is still the original Motorhead with Fast Eddie, Phil, and Lemmy. So I'm sorry to hear that he's gone.
There was I always go on Reddit and that fucking cracks me up, the comments, even though it's a brutal fucking place. The lead comment was, so you're telling me Lemmy is the last surviving original member?
No, he's not, because Fast Eddie's still around. But
Okay.
George,
But
George,
no, but they're saying like you're like. So you tell me that Lemmy didn't die first?
yeah, that he
Well,
outlasted
That's what it
Well,
was.
that was my comment too. Was like, what? He
But
beat Lemmy.
it is shocking.
You know,
It is
Lemmy
shocking. And he
didn't
was
go
almost-
first. Amazing.
and he was younger than Lemmy.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's exactly what George texted. Actually, he was like, "What?" Yeah. So, but I mean, Phil, all those guys, they all took speed for like 10 years,
Yeah.
And Phil was a heavy smoker and probably drinker, and God knows what else drugs he was into. And
His teeth, man. Oh my gosh. That photo that we've been seeing, he's like,
yeah, that's a rough one.
rotted mouthful of teeth.
I wonder what kind of life he was living. I mean, was he?
No, the Motorhead life probably a healthy one.
Well,
But he hasn't been in
financially,
Motorhead for like 15 years at least.
Yeah. So were there still any checks coming in or what?
I don't know. It didn't look like he. I mean, I was looking. I was wondering what he'd been doing, and I couldn't really tell.
Yeah. Well,
On the street corner
news.
playing Ace of Spades over and over again.
Yeah. So this week we also lost Dolores Rhodes, the mother of Randy Rhodes. She died at 95.
Wow.
I went and watched an interview with her that must have been linked to Blabbermouth or something when this news came on. And you know what? Honestly, what an obviously sincere and pleasant woman.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like seriously, like not one of the, I mean, it's not like watching an interview with Sharon Osbourne. She was just like, you could tell her whole family, because they also interviewed Randy's sister, were like just the biggest, geekiest, didn't give a shit about fame people in the world.
Yeah. She was a music teacher, and I remember
Correct.
that much. And,
And as everybody knows, probably, as you know, I don't know, actually, maybe George and I know. I don't know. Maybe the younger fans don't know anymore. But D on,
I was just going to say that.
is it on Blizzard?
I think it's on Blizzard, yeah.
Is written after Randy's mother. So that actually it was a song for her.
Yep.
Is the talk true that Randy was going to be leaving?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That he was
dude.
just bored with that?
That's why Ozzy killed him.
Dude, I remember very well reading an interview with Randy Rhoads before he died. I remember this, and people used to say what he would have done.
Was he
And
an outspoken guy, Jay? Because I haven't heard much.
No, he was quiet. But I mean, you can find some of these interviews online. And I remember this one very specific interview in like Guitar World magazine. And at almost every tour stop, he would hire the local classical guitar teacher, and he would go in and say, here's what I know, teach me some more. His intention was to he was going to go get his master's degree in classical music, and that was his plan, like after the Diary of a Madman tour.
Yep. No more metal.
No, and he wanted to be a classical musician.
Yeah.
After that plane crash, how was your guys' reaction?
I was not yet. I mean,
Okay.
that was 81.
Yeah, because I just didn't know if it was like, whoa, because I still remember when I found out when Dimebag was killed.
I didn't really listen to Ozzy until like 83.
Okay.
But also I didn't find out until I read about it like in a honest to God, like a Hit Parader magazine or
Yeah,
something.
I remember reading
missed
about
that
it in
one
there.
day it was on the news, then forget it,
So then your introduction into solo Ozzy was Zach stuff?
No. My first Ozzy album was Bark at the Moon, so that was Jake E. Lee.
Okay.
But I was aware of
See, that
Randy.
shows you how naive I am. Zach didn't come in right away?
No.
Okay.
No.
Mine was Diary of a Madman, but I did, and it was like a new release when I got it. But I didn't know. It might have been. I'm not joking. It might have been weeks or months before I knew Randy Rhoads was killed in an airplane crash, because it just was not an internet world, And I lived in a small town,
Yep.
And I think it might have been, like I said, some circus magazine that came out or something. I was like, And I have to tell you, Buke, it didn't like freak me out. I mean, I don't think I really understood what was different about him than other guys. And Ozzy, to be perfectly blunt, wasn't my favorite artist. I mean, it was not cool, but
Looking here at Jake E. Lee, the guy really didn't do much afterwards.
No, well, he's been sort of off the scene for a number of years. He just, like within the last couple of years, came back with his Dragon Cartel.
Yeah, Red Dragon. Nice. But, dude, you're fucking pulled. Score one for George. Red Dragon Cartel.
Yeah.
Man.
But you know
George
what?
has
He
the vinyl.
can't play anymore. I've seen videos, and he honestly, he basically just plays rhythm through him. He lost his skill.
He did Bark at the Moon, Ultimate Sin, and then did stuff with Badlands.
Yep.
A couple albums.
That was his band.
Yeah, he did 3 albums with Badlands, and then
their singer died.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But by the way, a kick-ass sort of metal rock, blues rock band.
They were kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
They did a self-titled Voodoo Highway, Dusk. Any of those good worth checking out?
Voodoo Highway was good.
Yeah.
Get the first one if you're going to check one out. I mean, check them all out, but get the first one. It's like kind of White Snakey, but like better.
They
White
look
Snakey.
so 80s, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The long hair. Fucking.
There's some famous guys in that band. There was some.
Man, see, I like this talk, boys. Badlands, the first album. The album features Ray Gillian.
Ray Gillen, yeah.
Ray Gillen.
He's the one that died.
Eric Singer.
Eric Singer, drummer from Kiss. Mm-hmm. And Alice Cooper.
Bassist Greg Cassian.
Okay, I don't know him. But it was the Eric Singer that I remembered. Yeah, you should check him out.
Yeah, because
Like
Ray
that.
and Eric formerly played together in Sabbath.
Right.
Yeah, I got that record when it came out because I was a Jakey Lee fan, and I remember
Geddy
thinking,
Lee fan?
I spent what's that?
Are you a Geddy Lee fan?
Hell yeah.
Everybody is. But I spent a summer listening to that Badlands record. That was a good record. What the hell are we talking about?
We're just having fun. We don't
Yeah,
have
no,
a
no,
band
I
today.
can't
We're going to get through
Yeah.
one more morbid fucking news.
Yeah, I'm trying to
release.
spice it up.
And then from there on out, I think it's reasonably.
Oh, shit. That's what I saw on Reddit. No.
Last time we talked about the fire in Bucharest, the Goodbye to Gravity show. Since then, the bass player for the band has died, and the death toll at last count was up to 51. And I was glad to see that the club owners were finally arrested. So,
And if I'm not mistaken, there was only one surviving member in that band now. Am I making that up?
the drummer,
Singer, I think, is still alive.
Yeah, both guitar players and the bass player. I never hear anything about the drummer.
Me either. Actually, now you mentioned it, so I might have that wrong. But and as I recall, the singer was burned over 80% of his body or something.
Yeah, I do. That's right. I remember that. Ay, ay, ay. I've been getting emails. I don't know about you guys. Probably because I'm on all these publicist lists. But I've been getting emails asking for money to support the victims of the fire.
No, I haven't gotten that.
I mean, it's kind of shady looking. I don't know if it's real or not.
Sure. Yeah.
But so it looks like all my conspiracy theories are correct. Guns N' Roses is rumored now. It's officially rumored to be doing a reunion tour. Everybody's saying that it's the secret that everybody knows. Apparently, they are booking a bunch of shows for next year. That's not what I wanted to hear, though. I wanted to hear a new album.
We'll see if that happens. I mean, if a reunion tour frequently leads to a reunion record.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I mean, I would like to see them. I never got to see them originally. I was kind of like, I heard Axl didn't sing very well.
Yeah, I've heard now he's horrible.
Actually, I saw him on
He's a lot better
Palladium or
now.
whatever, and he sounded really good.
Yeah, he's good now. He sings good now.
So
I think he lives a better lifestyle now. Well, I saw them, as mentioned once on this podcast, in a club, believe it or not.
yeah.
I'd be curious to hear if it's really the lineup. Is it like Steven Adler? That's the one I'm wondering. Is Steven Adler going to be involved?
I don't know if he is able. Since
Yeah,
his stroke, I don't know if he can even play.
Oh, he had a stroke? How long recent was this?
That was a few years ago. He had a drug stroke. He had a coke stroke.
I think coke stroke. No, I think he's fine now because I know he's got a band.
He still can't talk, though.
No, well, he talks funny.
He talked like he had a stroke.
Me talk pretty someday. Yeah, well, there it is. You got your wish. I mean, it's not announced yet, of course, but people like Nikki Sixx are saying it's happening. So
Yeah. I'm okay if Matt Sorum's on drums. But, give me Duff and Slash and Izzy.
Can I get Buckethead back in the group?
Shut up. If they come around here, I'm totally going. Cool. So I saw this article on Blabbermouth the other day where they were talking to Joey Z from Life of Agony. And apparently people have made comparisons between Volbeat and Life of Agony. And I was like, I hear it. I'm like, yeah, that's probably why I like Volbeat. Because the dude's clean vocals are very Keith Caputo, or Mina Caputo, if you prefer. Jay, you ever listen to Life of Agony?
no, but you can make me try.
Just listen to River Runs Red.
River Runs Red.
Just start right there and end right there.
Nah, man.
Don't go to Ugly.
Ugly's
No.
good too. But River Runs Red is a classic. In fact, it was probably like 94. That could have been my classic this week. Oh, well, it's not.
Yeah, no, I don't know these dudes. I mean, I know of them, but likewise, I've never listened to Volbeat, by the way. And I know they're kind of big in Europe, huge in Europe.
Yeah, they're a big deal. And
Are
really like their last album a lot.
Maybe they're kind of big here, maybe too.
I think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
somebody was asking Joey Z, whom I've met, what he felt about that, and he was just kind of like, "Yeah, what are you going to do?" He's like, "I hear they're fans of Life of Agony, so whatever." And I mean, that's true. What are you going to do about it? But he kind of has the same like deep hey kind of voice thing going on. I hear it. I mean, you don't hear it, Buke? You're shaking your head.
I don't.
You don't. I totally hear it. I'm like,
but
that's very
sometimes
Life of Agony.
you just sound like a guy. You know what I mean? You can't help it. I mean, when you open your mouth, something comes out.
Okay.
Unless you're a super gifted vocalist.
I was looking at the whole band.
No, just the singer. Just
Okay,
that's the way I see it.
Yes, there are parts.
I think he sounds kind of like it. Yeah.
A little bit, yes.
All right. I'd never thought about that before, but I was like, that makes sense.
Now you get it.
Now I get it. So I was in the car the other day, and a song came on the radio, and I was like, wow, that riff sounds like I Had the Tiger. So I hit the thing on my XM to see what it was, and it was Howard Jones' band, Devil You Know, covering Survivor's Eye of the Tiger. Badly.
Now, former Howard Jones, for those who don't know, former
Killswitch
Killswitch Engage
Yes.
singer, who has an amazing set of pipes on it.
Sure, I'm not knocking his singing ability, but you know what? Eye of the Tiger is just one of those songs you don't really want to cover.
No.
It's just not.
It's just you don't touch it.
You can't
Not
touch
that it's anything super special.
No, but
the original song is kind of so perfect.
It's like you don't see covers of Stairway to Heaven, do you?
or Dust in the Wind. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's
stuff
just
like
like I
that.
think you might see covers,
Yeah,
but
it's
I mean,
like it's not a song that you're going to be able to add anything to. You can make it heavier, but
it was also about a moment in time. It needs the sound. It has to have that 80s production. Mm-hmm. And it has to have that kind of goofy pop vocals on it, which frankly they are. You know what I
No
mean?
one
It's
covers
super-
YMCA now.
yeah, that would be interesting. But I mean, the verse parts and the intro, they weren't bad. It really falls down on the chorus because it just does not have the same power of "Eye of the Tiger." I mean, it just doesn't have it. You're expecting this big hit, and it just kind of just tank.
I remember really well when I was in music class, like in the 4th grade or 3rd grade, whenever that song came out, and it was the movie. And of course, it was attached to the movie.
Yeah, Rocky 3.
3, yeah. And I remember it was a big treat at the end of music class. She would, if we had enough time, we'd listen to Eye of the Tiger. Listen to Eye of the Tiger. And everybody would be like, are we going to listen to Eye of the Tiger today? Be like, let's get this done fast so we can listen to Eye of the Tiger. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was one of those like mega hits, dude. You could not turn the radio on for a couple of months there and not hear that fucking song.
Yep.
Can I just do a mention of quickly while we're talking about Howard Jones, George, who before has shat on my beloved Killswitch Engage.
I shut upon thee.
Well, wait. But before you do the shout out, are they broken up or is he just not singing for them?
He's just not singing for them. Jesse, the original singer, is back.
Okay, so please continue.
I think they're working on an album, actually.
They are. Killswitch is, I have no problem saying it, one of my favorite bands. But I think George will agree with me here. It is still, to this day, the most brutal mosh pit I have ever been in.
It was pretty intense. I mean, I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't had my arm like locked around Buke's neck. He was my rock.
This pit was outside at I know you're thinking, Mayhem Fest and Killswitch.
Oh, I was thinking of the
Hey, it can happen anywhere, man.
No, but the one inside,
Jacks.
yes, the Jacks. Yep,
that was fucking killer. But no, I know the one you're talking about. That one too is also
outside.
pretty,
yes, in the gravel. Yes, in the gravel, in the heat. Oh, just a fucking brutal fight. But man, I love Killswitch Engage. And that's just We're talking.
I did not know that you loved them. I did not know that. That was when you
I remember he was all into them. He was like, listen to this, and I was like,
Yeah, that sounds.
So now my Killswitch Engage love goes underground, and I don't pull them up, but I still listen to them, and I love them.
You gotta be careful with it.
you like what you like. All right, so I got to tell you, I saw some other news, and I was like, "This is news, really? This is newsworthy." So apparently, Ozzy Osbourne has returned to the Alamo 33 years after taking a leak on it.
It's newsworthy now because it was newsworthy then.
I guess.
Well, you know what? It's tied into that weird history show he's doing.
Yes, I realize that, but
you know what? Fucking Ozzy, just enough already, dude. I'm not joking. Ozzy has become a kind of like media
This is
character.
Jay's. Let me give you a piece of my business minute.
I can't, and I have to tell you, like, Diary Man, Blizzard of Oz, two of my favorite metal records of all time. They're in there somewhere in the list. But I just don't like the media character that he became back when the Osbournes started. I watched the show and I thought it was great, but I'm sick and tired of him being some kind of like, that he should have projects now that are like just not in any way attached to music.
Yeah.
It's like he might as well. I mean, the next step is for him to be like on The Voice or some fucked up show like that.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be there. I like The Voice, actually.
I've never seen it, but I don't like my metal guys to be out there like that.
Yeah, honestly, I could, at this point, as soon as he said no more Black Sabbath albums, once we go see the End tour, that it could be the end of me never hearing Ozzy again. I'd be okay. I mean, listening to his old music, but I mean, like, never hearing any more news about him, I'd be okay with that.
I will not buy his next solo record. I admit I bought Scream, and I was just like, what the fuck is that?
The last couple albums have been horrible, so yeah, I'm certainly not going to get that either.
So that is my little rant. It's just like enough already. I mean, be a little more classy. Be like Tony Iommi. Tony Iommi is fucking Tony Iommi. He's one guy. One thing he does, he plays guitar. He plays in bands. He's always making music.
Battles cancer.
Cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fucking fighting the goddamn devil here.
Yep.
I mean, if I have to see one more Ozzy documentary that doesn't exist already, where he tells the story about biting the head off the bird, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
That used to be fucking the reason everybody thought he worshipped Satan. Now that's like a fucking joke.
Yeah. Now nobody would go, Ozzy? Oh, he's a harmless, cuddly old curmudgeon.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm done. Rant completed, but I will not tune into that history bullshit show. I'm going to continue my rant into this next fucking news story.
And that news story is Kirk Hammett says 2016 or early 2017 is going to be the release for the new Metallica album. Yeah, it's funny. It's like every time you see these guys in the news the last like year, it's been,
last 5 years.
When's the new album? And they're like, yeah, it's coming.
But I mean, what have they done in the meantime? Lulu, their own failing music festival. They made a shitty fucking movie. I mean,
they played in Antarctica.
I did like that movie, though.
Oh, was it good? I haven't seen it.
Yes, actually, it was kind of cool.
It's really cool.
Okay, well, I'll step back and
the music on it from it was good too.
To be perfectly blunt, I have not seen the movie, so I should be a little cautious there. But it's just what an inflated notion of that. There have been a few bands in history, and this is one of them, where there is nobody in that organization that is brave enough to go, I don't think this is a great idea.
I was curious. I was probably thinking about this, and I was going somewhere, and I Googled Metallica net worth because I was curious. They're the biggest metal band around, but how big are they?
Yeah.
And I didn't. I stopped at the first link that I found, which was James Hetfield net worth, and they said he was estimated to be worth $175 million.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so what you're saying is Metallica's worth a lot of fucking money.
But here's an interesting thing. There's some guy, and this is only according to some, I think, sort of unofficial biographer, but since, and I honestly can't remember when it went, what the year is, but going back to like Lulu, the music festival, the movie, maybe back as far back as Some Kind of Monster, they have been in the red. They're not making money because all these ventures, they have $1 million, billions of dollars, so they don't have to care. But all of those ventures have been financially failing ventures.
Right.
Like they put way more into the movie than they made. They put way more into Lulu than they made. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So, but that stated, yeah, they're fucking rich as fuck, dude.
So they can get away with that.
But James probably is probably tops, and then probably Lars, because the publishing is where the money's at, where some of the money's at. Yeah. So.
All right, moving on. Catatonia announced that they have a new drummer, and they're going to begin recording a new album for release sometime in 2016. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were kind of not doing anything there for a while, weren't they? Or, I mean...
well, they sort of went the Monster Magnet route. They've been like doing some like remix albums or whatever you want to call them. I don't know, basically taking an album and reimagining it. So I think they're due for some new material.
Yeah. Yeah. What was, hey, Buke, the guy who left Opeth, what the fuck is his name? Wasn't he from Catatonia? And did he go back to Catatonia?
Yeah, he was from Spiritual Beggars.
Spiritual Beggars. Okay.
big difference, and yet not that big.
Buke is my Opeth Wikipedia.
Opethpedia. Abbott premiered a new song called Winter's Bane from his new album due on January 22nd. Jay told me about it. He said it was pretty awesome, but I neglected to listen to it.
Oh, it's great, dude. You'll like it. It's it could easily come off of All Shall Fall, and it sounds like an Immortal song, but it's good. It's catchy. It's got a real kind of a riff and an edge and a kind of melody, if you will, that draws you in. You'll like it. I know you'll fucking like it.
Excellent. I can't.
Yeah, I was half expecting you to say, "Oh, I listened to it. It was fucking killer."
Yeah, I meant to do that. I was like, usually the day before a podcast, I go through the script and look for anything that I'm supposed to listen to.
Yeah,
and make sure that I listen to it. And I missed that one. So
it's did you like All Shall Fall, Buke? Did you have that?
Not black metal Buke over here.
But he does like Immortal.
I do. Like, I know this is not popular probably, but like Sons of Northern Darkness, I love.
Oh, that's hugely popular.
I love that album.
I think a lot of people consider that their favorites. But this isn't, as near as I can tell, obviously we haven't heard the whole record yet, it's the next logical step after All Shall Fall, and there's no missteps. It's great. It's fucking awesome, dude.
Immortal is very accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say, at least,
sort of,
Sons of Northern Darkness?
Yeah, I mean, they became accessible, yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, go back to...
Or like Blizzard Beasts and stuff like that.
Jay, what's your favorite Immortal?
Well, honestly, it's All Shall Fall, believe it or not. I think they've only gotten better as they've gone forward.
See, mine's Battles in the North.
Well, that, Sons of Northern Darkness or All Shall Fall they'd have to battle to the death. And I think Sons of Northern Darkness is an amazing record too, Buke. I really
In
do.
My Kingdom Cold, I fucking love that song.
Oh, yeah, dude. You go out and check out the new track. You will not be disappointed. It makes
you
it seem
listen
like...
to that I record that they put out?
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's
I got
all
it.
right.
I got it when it came out back, because it's a few years back now. I listened to it a lot when I first got it. I remember that record and Sog came out like right at the right time, the first Sog record.
I fucking love those guys.
And I was listening to both of those records quite a bit. And I think one of the Sog guys is involved in if I remember right. Yeah.
Yeah, the earlier Sog albums are better. The last one was a little more trippy, kind of like, not as cool.
The first one is the one. The first one is fucking devastating. People need to have that record.
Yeah, SAHG, Sog.
That was like a radio call sign.
Yep. All right, last news item here. I'm going to want to pick this up. Bruce Dickinson's memoir is due out in 2017.
Good for Bruce.
Yeah, that should be interesting. I don't know.
I'll read it.
Yeah, I'll definitely read it.
I don't race out to get all of those, but I'll get that one because, first of all, Bruce has had an interesting life. Bruce does interesting things now all the time.
Yeah.
I think he's a smart fucking guy, just based on the fact that like things like his like Chemical Wedding solo record is completely based on the works of William Blake. I mean, the guy obviously has an education. Yeah, I'm interested to hear what he's got to say.
Yeah, me too.
Have you? Have you looked at pictures and or interviews with him recently?
No.
You know what? You can see he's still kind of in recovery mode. He added some years on from that cancer treatment.
Really?
Yeah. He looks older to me quite suddenly than he has. He looks good, but he just looks like he crossed that threshold where you're no longer the guy who's looks really good for 45. You look like a 55-year-old or whatever he is,
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but I mean, as good as he can, and I don't mean that bad. He looks pretty good, but he looks older.
Okay?
As do we all. Let's get into our new releases, of which there are few. We're getting to that time of year, I think, where the new releases are starting to dry up. There were actually quite a few new releases this week, but most of them I don't give a shit about. Yeah, I only pick out the ones I give a shit about. So, first one, I don't know if you guys have heard these guys. I only heard about them recently, is a band called Firespawn and their debut album, Shadow Realms.
Do tell. What kind of thing we got here?
Well, the singer, I know you've heard of him, Mr. L.G. Petrov from Entombed, and ex-Dark Funeral, ex-Satyricon, a couple other Entombed AD guys. Unleashed, that's the one guy from Unleashed and Necrophobic. So yeah, it's a Swedish death metal band with various guys from the Swedish scene, and L.G. Petrov on vocals. I listened to it a little bit, and It's LG. You know, it's death metal. I haven't.
Death and roll?
Nah, it's death metal.
Okay. So I'd like it.
I think you'd like it. I was going to recommend it to you. It might be a little generic for my taste, but
I love generic.
so, I think I snagged a promo. So
I got it here right now. Okay.
check it out.
Hey, this is completely, connected to nothing. So sorry about that. But I just got an announcement yesterday for a show in my area, and I'm trying to see if there's any in your area, of Venom Incorporated is coming, that Mantis and Abaddon thing.
I saw that you said something about it on Facebook. You were
I'm gonna
attending or something.
I'm going to go because as you know, we'll all be seeing Cronus and Company, so I can compare the two existing Venom outfits.
That's a good idea.
But it doesn't look like there's a show in your area, so.
No. Another new release is one that I feel like I've mentioned it before on here. The new Void of Sleep album, New World Order. I don't think I mentioned it as a new release before, but I might have. It was listed. This is, I believe, the second album from the band. It's really good. That's all I gotta say. It's really good. You need to check it out. It's certainly going to be on my list somewhere.
We liked their first album.
Oh, yeah. His first album was very good, too. Check that out.
And it's one of the most Sabbathy names for a band ever, because we're basically talking about Into the Void and, Beyond the Wall of Sleep. I mean, they're not even trying to hide it. They're just like, fuck it, dude. Yeah, but I did like their last record, too, as a matter of fact. And I haven't listened to this one yet. Did we have a promo for it, dude?
Yeah, we did. I'm pretty sure I put it in there.
Yep, it was in there.
That probably means I have it. I just haven't looked at it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about this last new release, dude, because I got some things to say about it, too.
Yeah. Jay and I were talking about this last one the other day. This is the new Swallow the Sun album, Songs from the North 1, 2, and 3. And
Jeez.
I got to tell you, have you listened to all 3 discs?
Okay, I can't lie to you and say I have, George. But I did listen to songs from all 3 discs.
Okay.
But I haven't listened to the record from start to finish. But I'll just tell you this, and this is exactly what George and I talked about, though I'm not sure what he's going to say now, but I cannot justify this much music from this band at this point in their career, apparently, or just these songs. I don't know. It's too long. It's too much music, and it doesn't warrant, the quality of the record does not warrant it being 3 records long. That's what I got to say about it.
I hate to flip-flop on you, Jay.
Oh, you're loving it. Okay. Dude, talk to me.
Yeah, well, when we talked about it, I'd really only heard some of the songs off the first album, and I was just kind of like, meh,
This is the third time you've done this year.
Flip-flopped.
I'm Iron Maiden, Deaf Heaven.
Deaf Heaven.
Yeah, Deaf Heaven, and now this.
Yeah, but I haven't. I mean, Deaf Heaven, I haven't flip-flopped. I'm still not a fan. I just think that their music has potential. Their vocals still suck.
Maiden, you flipped.
But that was only on one song. I have listened to all 3 albums through twice now, and I get it. It's broken up into 3 discs, partly because I have a shit ton of songs, partly because each disc has its own musical theme.
Okay.
The first disc, Songs from the North 1, is Death Doom. That's what they call it. There's a lot of clean vocals on there. There's a fair amount of harsh vocals, but they're calling that the Death Doom album. Songs from the North Part 2 is entirely acoustic, and it's not like fucking Tesla, fucking unplugged, whatever, acoustic.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on there. Acoustic wasn't the word that came to mind for me. It was just clean.
Yeah.
And it's nothing like they've done before. And it's nothing like the first disc. It's completely different. The third album is fucking Funeral Doom.
Well, I'm going to do it for you, George. I'm going to go through it from start to finish because of what you said here today. And obviously you're liking it too. I mean,
I'm unsure. This has potential to go very far on my list.
Okay.
Because it's so ambitious. And that's what amazes me, is like, okay, this album is really ambitious in that it's trying to cover all these bases, and I think they do a really good job of covering those bases. I think of the 3, the first album is probably my least favorite.
And I have to admit, that's the one I put the most listening time into.
The second
on
album,
my way through that, and then I jumped forward,
Yeah, the second album there's no metal on the second album, period. But it's pretty in a not like commercial. I mean, it's commercially accessible in that it's melodic, and and stuff like that, but it's not like pop. It's not geared towards the radio or anything.
Buke, you're an Opeth fan. That sounds right up your alley.
Honestly, the first two albums are kind of progressive. Because the first album, there's a lot of clean vocals, which leads me more down the progressive route than the Death Doom route. Second album's all acoustic. And the third album, holy shit.
Really?
That's probably my favorite one.
Okay.
It's Funeral Doom, but the atmosphere on it, usually like Funeral Doom, like the new Hooded Menace album, it's this mountain of sound in your face.
Yeah, one constant thing.
And to me, the third album on the third Swallow of the Sun album, there's a lot of empty space in this mix. It feels like you're on like a sheet of ice in the middle of fucking nowhere in the middle of the night, and this music is playing, and it's just echoing into like this wide open space. I don't know how they do this. I've always kind of wanted to be able to create a sound like this with music.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they do it, but it just sounds so open.
I got to tell you, just based on that description, and I'll have to listen.
Yeah, that's a great description. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. It's funny because that is a quality I would assign to a record I'm always trying to sell here, which is that Warhorse Doom record. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't know if that's the quality you're talking about, but yeah, I'm intrigued.
But the one thing that stands out, George, is again, I would not have expected that description, but it's like what we talked about with Cattle a couple weeks back. Mm-hmm. It sounds like this is a evolution.
Yeah,
definitely.
A little bit like a maturing band.
For me, this is like drastically different. I mean, this is kind of like when the Between the Burying Me album came out, and it was so different than like their previous stuff. This is definitely different for them, and so ambitious, both in the epic scale and the different themes that they visit. It's like this album is this album is this, and this album is this, and you can listen to whichever one you want based on what style you're looking for today. And I've never heard anything quite like this album before.
Does it break up the flow?
No, because they're each a separate thing.
Okay.
And the songs that are on that album work well together. They go together.
Yeah.
And
that's interesting to me though, because given 3 albums to work across, it's interesting that they did choose to break it up like that. That sounds odd. I mean, that's not odd, but what I mean is they could just as easily have gone Doom song, first record song, acoustic song, and created a flow that way. So they are definitely obviously made 3 separate statements here, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I think if they'd mixed it all together and just made it 3 albums, I think people probably would have shit on it more. And I have no idea how it's being received, but
I read one review that was not kind.
Yeah.
It was the Nine Circles dude. The Nine Circles dude kind of hated it.
Which one was it? Dan or Corey or
somebody else? I don't know.
But I can see where people people complain that the Iron Maiden album's too long. So obviously those same people are going to complain that this is too long.
Yeah. But it doesn't have to be, too long in and of itself is not a problem with me,
Me either. I mean,
yeah.
I don't have to listen to all 3 of them if I don't want to. And in this case, I can pick which one of the 3 I want to listen to depending on kind of mood I'm in.
Good point.
You've moved me to give it more time.
And so, like I said, I've only been through it twice, so I'm not completely familiar with the stuff yet. But I definitely am liking the stuff on the second and third disc better than the stuff on the first disc so far.
Okay,
I'm surprised you stuck with it.
Because it takes sticking with it.
Knowing you have 2 more discs ahead,
I was ready to write it off because I got through the first disc and I was like, all right, yeah, it's not bad. And then I started listening to the second disc and I was like, okay, not metal at all. And then the second song, I was like, yeah, still not metal. And I was like, wait. And I went to the third song and I was like, not metal. And I was like, okay, so what they're doing is I remembered reading something that each disc has its own style.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, well, let me finish out this disc. If I want to know what's on the third disc now, because what are they going to do? What else is there? I was like, what are they going to do? Go Funeral Doom? Pfft, how did I fucking know? But they did.
Which I admit, Buke, that's where I was. I was kind of lazy. I was just like, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? It was just like, do I have 3 hours to kind of see if this is any good? And I didn't like what I'd heard, and I did most of what I listened to was on the first record, but I dropped the needle, as it were, in a few places. But what I'd heard just didn't, I'm inclined to say, nah, I'm going to leave it alone. I was going to say the Fat Nap Iskar record, which I know you guys aren't big fans of. I mean, there are records like that. If I did not give them the time from start to finish, I wouldn't know how great they are.
Yeah.
And there are records on my list this year that are like that.
Well, I recommend, listening to this on headphones and just sitting back and just do each album like one at a time. Don't try and get through all three at once because you'll just get burned out and give up. So listen to the one and go, okay. And then when you have some time, listen to the second one and,
I like a homework assignment.
Excellent. I've got the vinyl coming like next month, I think. It's like 5 discs.
I bet it is. It's a box set.
Yep.
The artwork's nice too, by the way. I did look at the artwork and stuff.
Shall we do our top 3?
Top 3.
What's your top three? What's your top three? What's your three this week?
So Jay came up with this one. I was fishing around and let's do the top 3 Deep Purple. I was like, I'm down with that.
I love Deep Purple, dude. And they are one of those kind of roots bands. Like, if I had been alive, at that time when, like, the first Sabbath record came out and Deep Purple, they would have been, like, my 2 favorite bands, know? Well, in Zeppelin. And they really were heavy metal at the time. I mean, a very, very heavy band. I can't wait to see which way you guys went with this. I also just watched Deep Purple Behind the Music on VH1, which I'd never seen, and enjoyed watching it, even though that's not really a very good show. But it was cool. I got to learn some stuff I didn't know. But I'm dead excited and interested to see which direction you fellas go on this.
Mine's going to be pretty lame.
Mine's a little generic, I admit it. But I am a great lover of Deep Purple, so I stand by my choices as somebody who doesn't just like the hot points. But we'll see.
All right. Well, why don't we start with you?
All right. Well, I had to do one from this second or third era, Mark II, and it can't be anything else but Burn. Burn is such a great kind of comeback from a band that was disintegrating. So, and I'm not going to say much about it. I just love it. That's a great record.
That's
and
a Coverdale era?
Coverdale era, and it's one of those reasons you got to know if you lived through the 80s like George and I did, and you got there late and you didn't know. David Coverdale has a vaunted kick-ass history that has nothing to do with the later Whitesnake records.
Yeah.
And
Gillan and Roger left, and Coverdale and Hughes came in on that album.
Yep.
Yeah, and by the way, that was when Richie really started to show his asshole, because he basically kicked Glover out. He was like, it's him or me. And they were like, okay, it's him. But Burn is a great record if you don't know it. It's a really great 70s hard rock record.
All right. Buke?
Mine, this one, he just mentioned it, Blackmore kind of being an ass. This is, by the time this came out, he was already starting to, kind of be done with the band. Rainbow he was about to go in to start Rainbow, one of my favorite bands. This is Stormbringer.
Wow. I didn't think he'd go there.
Yep.
Because Stormbringer starts to move into some funky territory, dude. That was where they started, where Glenn Hughes writings used to come in, and they started to do, there's some funk rock songs on it.
You Can Do It Right. One of my favorite songs, Soldier of Fortune.
Hey, it's a great record. Don't get me wrong. But it's definitely it's a less hard rock record than Burn. But it's great. It's great. And it was the last Richie record, as you know. So.
All this Coverdale stuff. Jeez.
Well, that'll be my last one. Do you not like that era, George, or is it just?
I honestly just have not listened to much of it because I'm a Gillan fan.
Oh yeah, right on.
So I've been meaning to, and I just haven't gotten around to it. But
he's the be all end all. I mean, Gillan is the man.
So I have an honorable mention. I put this in here. I was considering it as part of my top 3, and I decided not to, and that's because it's Deepest Purple, the very best of Deep Purple. It's a greatest hits album.
Yeah, but these guys have like 79
yes.
greatest hits albums.
But the reason I said this was because going through all the albums, I don't have a lot of deep tracks with Deep Purple. I'm very much a about the hits kind of guy. And their albums are like one good song or one big song and then a bunch of songs I've never heard. And so I'm like, wow, there's a lot of albums here that I can't really in good faith put down because I've always been listening to this greatest hits album because it's got all the hits on there. So that's my number 4. But my number 3 is The House of Blue Light.
Oh, bless your heart, George. I'm one of the only people, to the best of my knowledge, for a long time that liked that record.
Yeah, it's a good album. That's from my era. You know,
His follow-up to Perfect Strangers. There's a great song in there called The Spanish Archer, one of my favorite Deep Purple songs. And Mitzi Dupree. It's about a girl he meets on an airplane who does a ping pong show. And I think ping pong balls, I think. It's a great choice, dude.
All right, number 2.
Number 2, one of my probably my favorite Deep Purple record of all time, and probably a lot of people's favorite, Made in Japan. Live record. Made in Japan.
Yep.
Recorded
That's
in Japan.
a good one.
Quite literally made in Japan.
I like how I was like this because we weren't saying anything. We're letting him explain it. He's like, okay, more this. And
Honestly, the first thing that popped into my head was Iron Maiden because they have a Made in Japan, but it's Made in Japan.
There's very little to say about that. I mean, first of all, the expanded edition is the one you want because it's got like Black Knight.
It was one of the first vinyl I bought.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's worth the price of admission for Child in Time alone. But there's just so many great performances on there. Super heavy record. And I'm not going to oversell it. I mean, the funny is, I do know so much about Deep Purple, so it's funny. I'm not overselling this because I assume everybody knows as much as I do. But that's the one. And as it kind of, this isn't even a sales pitch, but Yngwie Malmsteen famously learned every single note on that record as a kid, and then dropped one of the channels out and recorded his guitar on it and used to play for his friends. You know, that's how crazy he was about what's going on in that record. And it's one of those ones that establishes Ritchie Blackmore as a guitar god. So
excellent. Buke, number 2.
Okay, you're going to see my last 2 here. I love albums. And Deep Purple has a habit of coming out like a fucking shotgun blast. Jay already mentioned it, but Burn. That title track right at the start I could put that on repeat and listen to it for 5 hours.
Man, what do you got against Ian Gillan?
I love this fucking song. And you know when I really got into this? When the keyboardist passed away a couple years ago.
John Lord.
Yep, and Lars made me realize, because he came out with a real nice touching piece on how actually important he was to the music world.
Oh, hell yeah.
For a keyboardist. And I went back and Lars actually recommended, check out his work on Burn. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Lars is like a Deep Purple aficionado,
Yeah,
and
totally.
that song is their Neon Nights. That is the first Ozzy Left track. We're back, motherfuckers, and it's a great fucking song, So Ian Gillan was out of the band, and they came back fucking full on.
It's just a happy. It's just a fun. It's
a
album.
drive.
It's just a fun album.
Yeah,
and that song is just, man.
Yeah, and you get to hear both right off the bat. You get to hear both David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes sing,
and their vocals on that. The harmonizing that they do is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you've inspired me. I need to go listen to the Coverdale stuff.
Yeah. Oh, Burn. Get Burn. Burn fucking rules, dude.
All right. Well, I have them. I just haven't listened to them.
Yeah. Put it on, baby.
And they have a female harmonizing with them as well on that. Oh,
that might be Glenn Hughes that you're talking about.
No, later in the album.
Okay.
My number 2 is Machine Head.
That's good. That's a good choice.
Because that's one of the few albums that has like multiple songs on there that I actually know. It's got Highway Star, which is a killer song, and Space Truckin', which is a killer song, and of course, the greatest song of all time, Smoke on the Water.
It's also, Space Truckin's on there. Let me see here. Pictures of Home is a good song. That's a good solid record from start to finish, and it is probably their biggest selling record, I'm pretty sure.
I think so. Number 1.
Buke predicted this previous to us going live here, that a lot of people would choose this, but it really is, as far as I'm concerned, their best record, and I think it rivals Black Sabbath first record. I think it rivals a lot of stuff in the Zeppelin catalog. In Rock, Deep Purple in Rock. It's
amazing.
Greatest fucking hits. It's so
What's your
good.
favorite song off it?
My favorite song, well, Child of Time is on there, so there's that. But let me see here. I want to look at the list so I don't leave something out. When I heard In Rock, and I was already a Deep Purple fan, and then I was like, I just knew, like, I was like, this is that record that if I had this, like, when it came out, you know what I mean? Like, then I would have been like, you got to hear this fucking record, dude. And it was, by the way, it was a very purposeful change for them. They were not the heavy rock band they were before that record came out. They literally sat down and said, we want to kind of do a Zeppelin Sabbath thing here. Okay, so my favorite songs, fuck, dude, the whole thing is good. Speed King's on there, Child in Time, There's a really kick-ass song called Flight of the Rat. That's a deep track for sure. Hard Loving Man's on there. I mean, it's fucking great from start to finish, man.
I don't really know anything on there other than Child in Time.
You know what? Have you ever heard the studio version?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because I mean, a lot of people know the Made in Japan version, and that's it. But it's their Led Zeppelin 4, you know, and for good reason. Yeah.
Man, I want to go back and listen to all this stuff again now.
Yeah, Deep Purple's the shit, baby.
You know, the one thing about Deep Purple, I wanted to get this point before I list my number one. I heard Eddie Trunk mention this, and he mentioned a couple years ago, and I've paid attention to it and reading various things. Here in the States, aside from those couple hits, they've never gotten the credit it seems like they have overseas.
They're like the Saxon of the Iron Maiden Judas Priest Saxon. Yeah.
If a lot of people really took the time to listen to them more than Smoke on the Water, they'd be huge.
Well, I mean, they were when Burn came out. They were huge, dude. They were huge from the hits. But when Burn came out, that's the year they did the Texas Jam thing, and they headlined that motherfucker too. And that was a big show. No, but you're right. They are not. They are like an also ran. You know what I mean? They are like the third candidate in most people's kind of list, and which is a shame because I can't say enough how they are one of my favorite bands ever. You know, Deep Purple is amazing.
Yeah.
But we got a number one coming.
Yeah, my number one. I told you, I like albums that start right out, bursting through the gates. This is odd because it's not going to be a lot of people's number ones. This is Fireball.
No, fuck yeah, dude. That's the next
one after
after
that fucking title track, too. Again,
Yep.
you have Fireball, Demon's Eyes, The Mule.
Yep.
No One Came.
I even like the one somebody's daughter or whatever it's called.
Anyone's Daughter. Yep.
Yeah, Anyone's Daughter. Yeah.
Yep. No.
That is probably second to In Rock for me as just for like the old school classic great record from start to finish. Fireball is fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, that's the start. That Fireball's title track, killer.
Fine choice. A fine choice.
And I credit a lot of these for just going through to my introduction into vinyl. There's a lot of Deep Purple out there. You can easily find it.
Oh, yeah.
And they are also, I agree with you, you can find them, but also there's a lot of nice, pretty much everything's out on a nice 180 gram reissue too.
Because a lot of these Deep Purple have been passed around and are pretty,
They are, dude.
Rode hard, put away wet.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to find some with some cocaine in the sleeves, maybe a couple marijuana seeds.
Well, anybody listening to this is probably going to be like, what the fuck? But
no.
But
stand your ground. It's a great record.
Jay knows what it is, and it's the album that introduced me to the band. This is what came out when I was 13 years old, and this is what sold me on the band. And it is
Perfect Strangers.
Perfect Strangers.
Nobody, but I don't think people would disagree with you on that, George, because we did a list of best reunion records a while back, and that was on my list.
Yep.
And that fucking title track alone. For a band to come back after that many years and put something that fucking gritty together.
Yeah. This is one of the albums that I know every song,
And they're all good, too.
Knocking at Your Back Door, also, fucking classic. Under the Gun, Nobody's Home, Main Street, Gypsy's Kiss, Wasted Sunsets, Hungry Days. They're all good.
I like Son of Alaric. I like
I'm not looking at the bonus version here.
That's
the bonus track.
Yeah, it's the bonus instrumental outgoing track, but it's just beautiful, and you get to hear Blackmore just wank it for like 7 minutes. That's a fine example of a band getting back together when they still had a lot of life in there and blood in their veins. God, that fucking first song is so haunting too, isn't it?
Yeah,
that title track is so haunting. That
riff is just fucking
It's like Middle Eastern and spooky, and yeah.
I was going to say, if you have a problem or want to comment on any of our top 3 Deep Purple albums, hit us up. Visit our new website at wearemetalheads.com, the Facebook page at MetalheadsPod on Twitter. Email us,
Yep. Be like, hey, fuck you guys. This is the best.
This is the best one. Yep.
There's
a huge catalog to pick from, so please get in contact with us.
Yep.
As concerns Deep Purple too, with the exception of like the Tommy Bolin stuff and some of the newer records, because they're still putting out records now that some of them aren't so great. But you can drop your needle almost anywhere in that fucking collection and hit something pretty cool. They are one of the original proggy metal-y bands.
Yep. All right. What are we listening to?
damn it. I'm still fucking stuck on this Amorphous record, dude. God damn it. And most recently has gotten heavily into my rotation. I texted George earlier in the week, and I believe my comment was meh. Third listen in, I'm really into the new Van den Plas record. It's just as good as anything they've ever done.
It's been funny. He started off just being like, meh, it's not so good. And then he was like, yeah, it's starting to grow on me a little bit. And then he was like, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's way up on my list now, dude. It's way up on my list. And it's you got to be patient with those guys because they ease in and they can be a little ballady and stuff. But it's all about dynamics with them. And that record's pretty special. So I got a lot of stuff spinning, but those are the two that are still Amorphous, still way at the top of my list, and the Van den Plas. So that's about my list right now. And Buke's been busy, as we all know, but hopefully he's got a couple of things he's been putting into his ears.
I have been fucking extremely busy. George, every time I say I've been busy, work, and I have a baby, George goes, yeah, I have work too. I try to get some sympathy from my best friend here. Coming up to the end of the year, I've been trying to go through and knock out some albums that I may have missed to try and finish off a list that some people say you need to check out. And I found a couple that have caught my ear. Many were a quick listen and they got thrown away. Two of these bands, one of them is a classic doom sound, almost a little new wave of British heavy metal, a band by the name of Night Demon.
Nice.
This album is awesome. Curse of the Damned.
Well, that was a terrible cover on that record, by the way. I always see your posts.
Yeah, it's classic. Like as Chris for the local record shop owner downtown said, looks like classic like 84, 85 Metal Blade album art.
Yeah.
And another band, this is a like funeral doom band that came out around January, February, Red Moon Architect.
I don't know that one.
And the album is Fall.
All right.
Is it on Bandcamp?
It's on Spotify.
And the phones come out. Big, there was one you posted yesterday, I think, and I just had to say it was just so hard to not read their name without laughing a little bit. It's the Viking thing, Thyrfing.
Oh, dude, that album fucking kills, man.
Oh, I'm sure.
Thyrfing.
Oh, those guys. Yeah, I know those guys.
Trifing or whatever.
Thyrfing.
Well, that's it. That's why it makes me laugh. It sounds like somebody saying surfing with a lisp. I mean, in which they certainly did not attempt.
Surfing USA.
Surfing.
Yeah, everybody surfing.
That's stated. I don't know anything about the band.
No, so I woke up yesterday. I was on the Viking thing yesterday, and I put that on. Pretty cool Viking.
Yeah, those guys are cool.
But yes, again, Red Moon Architect, their album Fall. Awesome stuff. Came out, I think, December of this year. Sorry, January. So check it out.
Yeah, I'm going to.
I will send it to you guys on Spotify.
Sweet.
Please do.
Is that it?
That's it, my friends.
All right.
Now, everybody get ready.
Yeah, get comfortable.
Yep.
Get yourself a drink, maybe a
Grab
snack.
some popcorn.
Go to the bathroom. Come back. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bands with 12.
And believe me, people, I pull out, as George does this, I have my phone in my hand and I type into Spotify on here.
All right, first one I know you guys have heard because I sent it to you. Jay even said he liked it. This is the stoner doom band Mammoth Storm and their album Fornjot. I'm thinking usually the J is like a Y, so Fornjot perhaps.
Leave the pronunciation to me. This is Fornjot.
Okay then.
It harks back a little bit to like sleep. They remind me of Sleep a little bit in pure construction and kind of
Fornjot.
That sounds a little more Klingon. Fornjot.
Okay.
All right. Next up is one that I've been hearing from. It seems like I'm hearing from everybody. I mean, I know our friend Greg has mentioned it, and Will liked it, and I could have swore Jay liked it too. But this band Odetto Sun.
saw everybody talking about it. I don't know them.
Yeah, their new album, The Dark Dunes of Titan. They're kind of. I don't know, I've been listening to it, but I haven't gotten through the whole thing in like a good pay attention to it listen yet. The music is really good. It's heavy. I think it's kind of progressive a little bit. The vocals are kind of harsh, but what I've heard so far, I've really liked. So, and just the fact that everybody in our little circle has been raving about it. So I picked that up and their previous album as well on. Bandcamp.
I think we need to get Greg on the podcast one time.
Yeah, I think we probably do. What's up, dude?
Yeah,
you gonna come on?
We need to get Greg on because he's
He's constantly reaching out to us, suggesting bands and just talking, and we love that. So
yeah, I think we need to get more of our listeners.
Yeah.
Greg, we are dropping either the gauntlet or the invitation as you would rather see it. We would love to have you on the show, dude. So consider this as your official invite.
Yep. We'll Skype you in. All right. This next one I just happened to stumble upon on Bandcamp is a band called The Scimitar and their album Doomsayer. And these guys, two of these guys anyway, are from another band that I was really big into called Black Pyramid. And if you haven't heard Black Pyramid, check that shit out, because they had a couple of really good heavy American doom albums. And as soon as I started listening to this, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I mean, it's like massively heavy riffs, kind of cleanish vocals. It's really good. I mean, you'll like it right away. It's
Hit me again with it.
The Scimitar and Doomsayer.
Oh, no, I suppose. Okay.
Scimitar. And it's actually like, I believe on Bandcamp, I think it's pay what you want kind of thing. So check, I gave him a couple of bucks, but definitely check it out. There's no reason not to. This next one, Jay actually told me about. I was surprised it wasn't on his list. This is Serpent's Lair and Circumambulating the Stillborn.
Why didn't I tell you about it? You're right, dude. I am still putting that record on, too. It's good, right?
Yeah, I bought it on Bandcamp right after you told me. I was like, oh, yeah, it's black metal, and it's good black metal. So
it's a kind of, it can be a little shoegazy at times in the best kind of way. They get into grooves and stay there. That's a real good record that is looking for placement on my year-end list. That's how much I like
From
it.
Denmark.
They're great, dude.
all right, keeping it Scandinavian. This next band, actually, I don't know if they're from Scandinavia, but the band is called Tomb of Finland, and the album is called Below the Green.
They're actually from Japan.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me see.
That's right. Yeah.
I would guess that they're probably from Finland, but let's find out.
They're from Denmark.
Are they really?
Yep, from Copenhagen.
Copenhagen. Okay, so
You're hitting the Denmark this week, dude.
apparently something metal in the state of Denmark.
I got it.
A little Hamlet there for you.
Oh, well done.
This next one, I've given you guys the promo. I haven't heard anything back. I'm guessing you haven't listened to it, but you really need to. This is a band that I'm going to mispronounce probably. Drauger, and with Hunger Undying. They released an EP earlier in the year, which was fucking phenomenal. And this is their full-length debut. I believe it's not out. It might be out by the time this posts. It's imminent. And you should definitely check it out. This is like...
That first, I have listened to it, George. And doesn't that first riff sound like the very first acoustic opening riff that just starts the record sounds like Spiral Architect from Black Sabbath. You'll listen to it when you get a chance.
Okay. But this album is so cool. It's very fucking heavy in sort of a black metal, like Black Death sense. But they throw in a lot of these acoustic pieces, and I don't know. It's very technical and heavy and dark.
I haven't listened to it enough to have an opinion, which is to say I just kind of hit a couple tracks like 30 seconds each. It has amazing artwork too. The cover is super killer. But okay, cool. It goes to the top of the list. It's on my iPod, so I'll roll it. I usually just like install everything from the box and go through my recently added list, and I just haven't listened to that much yet.
Definitely check those guys out. Next up is a band that I don't know how to pronounce it. Vrangbild, Vrangbild. Right. Into the Abyss in Zero is the album. Get it on Bandcamp. It's, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of trying to describe albums. It's kind of black metal, kind of atmospheric. It's not like traditional black metal. It's kind of different. Just give it a listen, see what you think.
Cool.
Second to last band. This is one that Greg told me about. Can't remember the conversation. Oh, we were talking about the Danzig covers album, and we were all sort of commiserating about how shitty it was. And so he sent me this band as sort of as a parting gift kind of deal, and he was like, "Hey, well, check this out." And this is the band Witch Skull and their album The Vast Electric Dark. And I gotta say, I'm really digging this album.
Okay.
When he first sent it to me, I thought maybe it was sort of going to be Danzig-y, and so that was sort of the glasses that I was listening to it through, if that makes any sense. But it's not really. It's kind of doomy, but like a sort of an energetic doomy with clean-ish vocals. It's good stuff. highly recommend it. Check it out on Bandcamp.
On Bandcamp, okay.
Yeah, totally. And most of this stuff you're going to find is going to be on Bandcamp because that's where I spend all my time. This last band, holy shit.
Okay, all right. I'm typing already. Like I'm ready to dial 911. So start talking, bro.
Buke is always talking about how he wants to find a Holy Grail band. I wish Buke had found this band and brought it to me because
I want to know. See, I just dropped my phone because I thought you were going to be able to Buke. You finally did it.
No. I when I found this band, I was like, man, I wish Buke had brought this to me because this is so freaking awesome. I bought all 3 of their albums right away. The band is called Stellar Master Elite. And I started with their 3rd album, Eternalism, the Psychospherical Chapter. I went back to their 2nd album, Destructive Interference Generator. And then I went from there back to their 1st album, which is just called One.
They're a German band.
They're a German band. The band name Stellar Master Elite is taken from a song title by the band Thorns. If you don't know Thorns, you better check Thorns out. Classic black metal. The main guy was the guy that went to jail for driving the car for Varg when he killed Euronymous. Snorri, I don't know how you say his name. But yeah, the band name comes from a Thorns song title. It also they're kind of influenced by Thorns a little bit. It's black metal.
So, well, then you know I wouldn't tell you this
No,
band
but
name.
it's so much more than just black metal. I mean, it's fast, it's slow. I don't know that there's really any clean vocals, but this is black metal you could get into, and I recommend that you do. The first 2 albums are free on Bandcamp, so check them out.
Okay, I just did it right now.
And there's a different singer on the 3rd album, which was kind of a bummer.
Where'd you get the 3rd one from?
Also on Bandcamp. It's under like the record label instead of
Okay, because I just searched by the artist and it's not under there.
Yeah.
What was the name of the 3rd one again?
The Psychospherical Chapter. And I can't remember the album or the record label, but it's on the record label's Bandcamp site. The guy that sang on the first 2 albums is the guy that sings for a band called Sonic Rain at REIGN, not like Trickle Trickle Rain, which is a band that I also like. I was not aware that he did this. And the first 2 albums, the vocals are a lot more latter era Satyricon, your Volcanoes and your Age of Nero kind of vocals.
Right.
And the 3rd album, the new singer, he kind of goes there too, but he also has a much more like deeper, raspier kind of funeral doom thing going on too. And I don't even know what to say. I fucking love these albums.
Here's one of the reviews on Bandcamp. All in all, this is one of the year's best albums by far. There is an elegance in the brutality of the said album title. It's so overwhelming and I cannot help but not recommend, not suggest, tell you to go out to listen to this album. It's a magnificent experience that you cannot miss if you want to go through a truly unique musical trip.
Tell me, that's so true. I can call it a black metal album, and that just does not do it justice. Go out, check this out. Like I said, the first 2 albums are free on Bandcamp. There's no reason to not listen to these. I already know Greg already did. I saw that he picked them up after.
And this came out in January on my birthday.
How I didn't hear any of these, I have no idea because they're so good.
Looking here, there's not many supporters on the Bandcamp. Maybe it's right around that New Year kind of funk that people
could be, but
because I haven't seen this on any lists.
No, me neither, and it's definitely going to be on my list.
Well, wait,
somewhere.
No, did you say,
well produced?
Yeah, pretty well produced.
Well,
it doesn't have that shitty, too reverbed kind of distant sound. No, it sounds good.
What was the name of the new record? Say it again.
I'll send it to you.
The Psychospherical Chapter.
Because, that one's not on their Bandcamp page. Which one were you reading the review from, Buke? Was that the new one?
It's right on the Bandcamp.
Was it from the new record, or
Yep.
that was the review of the new record?
If you're looking for the 3rd and latest album on Bandcamp, it's actually on the Bandcamp page for Essential Purification Records. Look for it there. Moving on. How about a classic, Jay?
I picked a classic. I wonder if one of you guys has picked before. My favorite record by these guys, and that's probably a weird choice, but it's Manowar, Into Glory Ride. I love that fucking record.
I feel like you've done that record before.
Maybe I did. You know what? I'm sticking with it. That's how classic it is.
Manowar is so badass you're going to do it twice.
If it is one I've chosen before, I'll just add in off the top of my head, "Hail to England," because that's the era of them that I love, yeah. So that's it. Into Glory Ride. If you have never heard "The Gates of Valhalla" or whatever the name of that song is, the one about Valhalla at the end of the first side, and "Hatred," there's a song in there called "Hatred." "March for Revenge" by Soldiers of Death. Jesus
That's
Christ,
my song. That's my jam.
Eric Adams' high point is that record.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Buke, classic.
Way to steal my fucking thunder. It's not my classic, though. It's going to be my deep track.
Oh, is it? Right on.
Man, not that album, no. For my classic this week, I'm going to do something that we touched on earlier, George. I don't care if I'm going to steal your thunder. River Runs Red by Life of Agony.
Sweet.
Okay. This is an album, Jay, you need to listen to it. It is not a happy story that is told in this album at all. But it is like high school age kid, always fucking messed with and down on his luck, and his parents are always yelling at him. The boss is on him.
Gets fired from his job, and his girlfriend dumps him, and
is it a concept record? Like the whole
he's
record?
Telling a story in the album. Like he gets a call from school that he didn't show up for school again. There's a call on the answering machine for his parents. He comes home and his parents are still yelling at him, and it's just a fucking amazing album.
It is
amazing. This time underground, River Runs Red through and through, Bad Seed, Method of Groove.
Probably one of my top 10 metal albums of all time.
Yeah, amazing.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
This was one of the first albums George turned me on to, and it was just like, he slid it across and said, listen to this.
Yeah.
Amazing.
This was my, go-to album for years.
When you listen to it, and not painting George in a bad light, but if you're anybody who's ever kind of been down on your luck, or maybe someone who's kind of an outsider or something.
This is suicide metal.
Yeah, you really can hang your hat on the lyrics on this album and stuff.
Yeah, it's.
I'm excited, man.
It's an amazing album. George never thought he would see them live again with me, but we did.
No, I saw them in Michigan. I saw them on the River Runs Red tour.
Oh, after that. I thought, you thought you'd never see them again. And then we saw them.
I saw them on the Ugly tour, too.
Oh, no, never mind. I thought
yeah, I met Joey Z both times.
Whoa, that's Life of Agony. River Runs Red.
No, but I'm sold. I love to. If it's that near and dear to your hearts, I promise you that we'll get a listen today.
Amazing. Yes, listen to it today, and I want a report back. Or else, Jay.
Calling from the underground.
Yes. Do a lot of people have the same feelings about the album that we do? Is it popular?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, I was just looking at the reviews on iTunes while you were talking. And, it's everybody here uses words like masterpiece. I can't believe there aren't 400 reviews on here. Hands down, the best crossover thrash album ever made. And it's a concept record. 100% must have. It's just fucking comment after comment is like... life changer.
I gotta listen to this again. I haven't listened to it in a while. It's one of those albums that I used to listen to just every couple of months, if not weeks.
Same for me. I didn't listen to it at the same time you got introduced to it, but
right.
And a quick thing, I always like to ask you, how'd you get introduced to this? Just a random grab?
Honestly, I don't remember specifically. I think my friend Josh told me about them, and I was like, okay, and I picked it. I remember buying it at Best Buy.
It was October 4th of 93.
Yeah, and I bought it right after it came out, and I'm pretty sure it was on Josh's recommendation, and I fucking loved it. And we saw them on the River Runs Red tour open for Typo Negative on the Bloody Kisses tour.
What a happy tour!
Oh yeah, I was in Flint, Michigan, and
there was goths in that crowd.
Yeah, there were suicides aplenty afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, it was a weird show because it was at a theater, with seats on the stage and stuff, but the show was in the lobby.
What?
Yeah, it was in the fucking lobby. You didn't even go into the theater area. They just set up a stage in the lobby of this fucking theater, and it was like going to the movie theater and seeing a band play in the
Let's all
lobby.
go to the lobby.
Yeah, it was fucking weird.
Go to the lobby.
But it was such a good show. That was probably one of my best shows all time. I remember so much about that show. Went with my friends Josh and Chris, and so good.
That's crazy. crazy. I love the stories. Okay, George, your classic, buddy.
My classic is, it's more of a hard rock than a metal classic. It's the band Zodiac Mind Warp and the Love Reaction and their album from 1988, Tattooed Beat Messiah.
Yeah, I remember it.
No clue, but
Prime Mover and Born to Be Wild. They did a cover of Born to Be Wild.
I know the Ghost. Now, is a Ghost song Prime Mover? That's not the same.
No.
No,
Okay.
no. Yeah.
No. And Backseat Education.
I remember it really well. I was working at a record store when they were still putting records out, and I remember it was right around the time Typo Negative was pretty active. And I remember Zodiac Mind Warp, Typo Negative. Like I can remember a period of time there where we had put their posters all over our walls at this record store and stuff.
I thought they never.
That's cool stuff.
They never got as big as I thought they were going to. When this album came out, I was like instantly sold. I was like, this is the next big thing. And just never really went anywhere.
I remember it though. And I remember thinking too that they were onto something that was going to be some, but it was kind of like the industrial age, you know what I mean, so to speak. There was a lot of, they just didn't quite cut through a lot of the other stuff that was happening, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do some vinyl purchases.
Mine are pretty minor this week, but all good records. I picked up the Amorphous record because obviously I'm obsessed with that record. I ran into Slayer finally at a record store, the new Slayer, which I just hadn't seen at a record store, so I picked that up. And then I picked one up that I've been kind of pitching to you guys for a while, and I'm really into this record. It's a couple years old now, but it's called Serpent Throne, the band Serpent Throne.
Nice.
Yeah, record is Brother Lucifer. Got that off Discogs. Had to pay a couple extra bucks for it, but that's a really good Sabbathy instrumental band, and it's just interesting from start to finish, that record. So
I'm going to have to find the CDs because they're not on Bandcamp, and I've been wanting the FLAC, so I guess I'll have to buy the CDs and rip it.
yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, they're just in, they don't have a huge. They must not be active anymore. By the way, I'm guessing since they're not on Bandcamp. That's just a guess because this record came out like 3 or 4 years ago, and nobody's heard from them since. So
Bummer.
that's it. That's all I bought.
Buke?
I haven't bought an album in a while. I just bought one off of Discogs as I tried to get this album a couple months ago, but I missed it, and it wasn't going to pay other prices I saw until I saw it come up again. I really didn't need to go through that long story. Nobody cares. This is Witherscape and their EP, The New Tomorrow.
Nice.
I got it for $14.
That's a good price.
Yeah, I saw it most times selling for like $35.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
Witherscape is one of the bands. George and I are big Dan Swano guys.
Don Svanu.
Yeah, when you turned me on to their first album,
Oh, he's so
blew my fucking mind.
If as far as metal individuals go, he is definitely one of my favorite singers.
Yeah. If you have not
one of
heard
the
the first Witherscape album, Jay, amazing.
I haven't heard it, but I know. But the reason I haven't is because he's also one of the most prolific, and the guy is on everything. So
Yes, he is.
He's got 8 million bands, but I'll check it out.
Yep. Edge of Sanity, and
He never stops.
yeah, he's always got something.
He's always got something.
And-
Yeah, and I love
and
those Discogs. When you find a deal on Discogs, when you keep getting those emails, and then it's like all of a sudden that thing you want shows up for $15 or something, and you like fucking jump on it, man.
Yeah, there was I almost picked up the other day. It was some album that I never see so cheap, and it was only like $30. And I was like, oh. But then it was like from Brazil, and the shipping was like $25. And I was like, never mind.
Actually, my Serpent Throne was at Discogs dealio. I had was only seeing that record for $30 to $50, and then some guy listed it for $20, mint condition. I think it was an unopened copy, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude!" Jumped on it.
Sweet.
And it was in the U.S. too, so I got a cheap shipping.
All right. I've got a couple. I finally jumped aboard the bandwagon and got a copy of the new Cattle Decapitation and the Anthropocene. The new Cattle Decapitation. Anthropocene Extinction, I believe it's called.
That's going to be on everybody's list this year.
Yeah. I mean, I've been into the album the whole time, but I just hadn't gotten around to getting the vinyl. I also got, Jay didn't mention this, but I know he got it too. The new Bell Witch, Four Phantoms. I also had that.
I didn't mention it. Thank you, George. That added to my list.
Yep.
So glad to get that. Everybody knows I love that record, and I haven't had a chance to spin it yet, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me neither. I also got the new Avatarium, The Girl in the Raven Mask on clear vinyl. Gotta love that album. So good.
I like it. I forgot to tell you I listened to it because that was Lee Fedling's thing or whatever, right?
Yep.
I still don't
Yeah,
feel
I-
her vocals fit the group. They're good, but they're too overpowering for what.
Okay, different strokes.
Of course.
And finally, this was a pre-order that I got for a reissue that got pushed back like by a month or so. Finally got it. Is the Morbid Angel Blessed Are the Sick.
All right.
All right, let's do deep tracks.
All right. Mine is from Richie Blackmore. We're doing some Deep Purple stuff today. Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, first record. The great Ronnie James Dio singing a song I don't really hear a lot of people ever mention. They all like Man in the Silver Mountain and all those things off there. A song on there called Self Portrait. It's actually, I think, the second song on the record now that I think about it. God damn, that's a good song.
What's this band's name?
I should be getting royalties from Merciful Fate, Richie Blackmore, any number of artists. Buke should be getting royalties from Opeth.
Mm-hmm. You would think.
You would think. But fuck them, I guess they don't give a shit about us. Buke, what do you got?
From Man of War, Warriors of the World, Swords in the Wind.
Swords.
Wow.
That song is probably my top 3 favorite songs of all time. It's not even super heavy, but it brings a tear to my eye every time.
Oh, yeah. That's one of those songs.
I just fucking love it. Just the image, like, picture of fucking Vikings charging in the battle. Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll make you cry from time to time.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
A lot, actually. All right. So my deep track is from Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion album. This is the song Don't Damn Me. One of my favorite Guns N' Roses songs of all time. It's basically, you see, Buke's making a face like, man, I don't even know this show.
I was thinking of You Could Be Mine, but no, don't.
No, Appetite for Destruction is an amazing album. But I think the Use Your Illusion albums was when Axl really blossomed as a songwriter, as a lyric writer.
Okay.
And the lyrics on these Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, there's some really good stuff on there. I mean, there's like, radio-friendly hits and whatnot. But the song Don't Damn Me is a song that I have related to for 20 years, 20-plus years, however long it's been since the album came out. And I listened to it again the other day, and as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, it's my classic for this week. It's a song I related to back then, and it's a song that still rings true to me now. And it's basically him talking about how, he's like, don't damn me when I speak a piece of mind. Silence isn't golden when I'm holding it inside. I've been where I've been, and I've seen what I've seen. I put the pen to the paper because it's all a part of me. And, obviously, it's stuck. I remember the lyrics after 20 years.
That's crazy how you rattle it off like that.
With your bitch slap rapping and your cocaine.
You Could Be Mine.
Yeah.
It's the wrong song, dude.
I know. I'm just messing. Sorry.
There were those of us who were excited to see. Appetite for Destruction was a real moment. And if I'm not mistaken, You Could Be Mine came out with the movie instead of the records, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so there were like people who were like excited to see that movie just to see what the fuck, the new Guns N' Roses was finally going to sound like.
Yeah, well, Don't Damn Me. It's like track 13 on the album. The best songs on the first Use Your Illusion album are all at the end.
I honestly don't know it, dude. I had trouble. I didn't make good friends with those records.
When they came out, I jumped on them. I
don't think a lot of people did either. They maybe sold a couple hundred copies.
Yeah. No, but I actually wanted to mention 2 other songs.
It's a trailblazer.
Yeah, Don't Damn Me was track 13. Track 15 is a song called Dead Horse. It's another one that I really kind of related to, about beating a dead horse. And then the last song on the album, Coma, which is probably a bit more well-known.
Coma?
Coma, yeah.
What we put our listeners into with this pod sometimes?
Live your life like it's a coma. We should put that, that should be our theme song.
Yeah.
We get a drop of George saying that. There we go.
Yeah, so anyway, those are my deep tracks.
I did, yeah, they're deep enough. I don't know, GNR is one of those bands I don't go deep with.
Well, now you can.
There's guys in the bands that don't know those songs, Buke.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody talk about those songs before, so particularly Don't Damn Me. Nobody's ever said anything about it.
But today
I'm giving it their 15 minutes of fame.
But I like that, George. When you go deep, you go fucking deep, dude.
All right, well, we have reached the end of the episode. But before we go, make sure to check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter. I am Disciple of Metal, Disciple OV Metal.
I'm at Opeth Fan, and our partner here is at Catatonic Jay.
And we are, of course, at Metalheads Pod. We're also on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on Stitcher, and of course, like we mentioned, there's the new website at wearemetalheads.com. So go check it out. Get a hold of us. Let us know what you think. Leave us a review. Send us a message. Whatever.
We check that shit a lot. So if you talk to us, we're listening.
Yep.
And thank you for listening.
That's right.
May I say, if you have a band who you think we would be a good fit and join us on the air here,
Yep.
send it to us if you're in a band.
We have 2 more episodes lined up for this year. One of them has a band already lined up, and you'll find out about that next time. And then, of course, we have our massive year-end spectacular. So
That's just us reading off a long list of records news, talking about the year.
No, we will be graced with the wonderful, often outspoken John.
and Will.
And Beefcake the Mighty,
Beef Stick.
Beefstick the Mighty will be joining us.
All right.
It's a pleasure, guys.
Yeah, normally we'd play a song here. I'm out of sorts because I don't have a song to play. But yeah, so we'll see you next time in a couple of weeks.
Let's play a Catatonic Society song.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
I was going to be like, today we've got Jay from Catatonic Society.
Jay, since you're here, we didn't get another band. Pick a fucking song you're going to take us out with.
Goddamn straight. You know what? This is a song. This is a deep track, a Catatonic Society deep track. This is a track from our record, and it's called Lazarus Frankenstein.